Hey everybody, Dean McIsaac back here to talk about the next step in creating your own successful financial plan and some of the things you need to look at when you're talking to financial professionals. So far we've talked about cash management and debt management, we've talked about tax planning, and we've talked about retirement planning and creating plans. So the next thing you need to be looking at when you're dealing with financial providers, professionals, will be insurance, which is the kind of the big one. It carries a lot of weight when we talk about insurance. I personally had a really bad experience when it came to the first insurance I bought, life insurance. I was oversold. I had too much coverage. I was paying too much money for what I had. And the person who sold it to me basically sold it and walked away and never talked to me again, even though my needs changed year over year and quite dramatically. I'm talking about life, disability, and critical illness insurances. So what normally happens in the industry is that if an insurance conversation is to be had, it's usually had about life insurance, and it's usually a term policy, which means that you create a time frame in which you'll be insured, if it's 10 years or it's 20 years or it's 65 or whatnot, and you'll be insured for a certain amount of money for that time with no frills, really. It's kind of like the basic idea. The complete picture around insurance is really about protecting yourself from the worst case scenario. I challenge you right now to think, do you know anyone that's come down with cancer, any child that's created diabetes, a friend or a family member who's had someone that they love lost through accident or sickness? And we all think it's not going to happen to me. It's, I'm healthy, I'm okay, or I know my parents were never sick, or I don't smoke, or whatever the excuse is, not to have a deep conversation about your actual needs. Because if we create this plan where you're starting small and building bigger, and you're creating wealth, whatever that means to you, if you can't work due to circumstances that you can't control, if you become sick, if your children become sick, all the things we don't want to talk about or think about, they need to be talked about and thought about before you need them. Think about debt. When you really need to borrow money, no one is going to loan you money. When you don't need to borrow money, people are offering you, and you have this line of credit, have this credit card, because they know you're good for it, because you don't need it. It's the same with insurance. You need to apply for insurances when you don't need them. You need to have them in place before the bad things happen, before the tragedies, the accidents, the illnesses, the sicknesses. And what's really peculiar is that when we do primarily life insurance only as an industry, we're actually taking away people's ability to live longer, healthier lives, because life insurance kicks in when you pass away and the benefit goes to the people you care about. But what happens when you get sick and don't die? What happens when you work or can't work but you don't die? Life insurance doesn't do anything for you there. It doesn't provide for you in the sense that I'm talking about today. What you really need to talk about are the living insurances. So critical illness, if you become sick, certain conditions happen, you say you get cancer, boom, here comes a check for this amount of money, tax-free. If you're unable to work, for whatever reason, and it falls within the certain purview as set up by the contract that you sign, they will pay the amount that you've agreed to in your policy until you're able to go back to work or until you turn 65. I mean, those are amazing benefits. What if you tomorrow couldn't work? What would you do? Do you have the right amount of savings set up? Do you have 3 months worth of savings? Of course not. Do you have 6 months? Way less likely. So again, talk to people, get deep, it's part of your plan. If you set up this great financial plan long term and you don't plan for the unexpected, then you're planning to fail. You're planning that I'm never going to get sick, I'm never going to be hurt, I'm never going to go off work. I've been off work for 6 months myself with a bad back, unable to work, unable to physically walk. Another part of this conversation is that people think, oh, I'm covered through work, I'm good, or my wife or my husband or my spouse are covered through work and I'm okay therefore. The reality is that we don't know what we're covered for in our plans. If you have group benefits, I challenge you to tell me your disability benefit, your life benefit, is there a critical illness component? How long do you have to wait once you get sick before you can start claiming? What are the policies and procedures in place? You don't know. And that's why you need to talk to someone. If you're talking to a good financial planner about this kind of stuff, they're not going to be primarily interested in selling you insurance. They're going to be primarily interested in understanding what you have and helping you understand the difference between what you have and what you really need. The way we do this is an insurance needs analysis. So we will take the calculations based on what you earn, what you owe, what you have, what you don't have, your plans, your expected income over your lifetime, the expected income of your spouse over their lifetime. And we do the analysis based on that. It's very straightforward and easy. However, I see so many people going in and saying, I want this much insurance, or the rule of thumb is this much times your income. It's all baloney. Get the real analysis done. Talk to someone that you trust, someone that's going to do the right thing and show you empirically why you need what you need and help you understand what you currently have. Sorry for the long video. I know this one's a tad bit longer, but there's a ton to cover. I hope you guys get some use out of this information. And please like and share. If you know anyone that ever wants to have a conversation about understanding where they are in terms of the safety and risk, please send them, let them talk to me, DM me. This is very important. And there are way too many sad stories out there. The person who chose not to take the insurance or chose to do something else, and then a week or a month or a year later they come back and say, I wish I did that, or they pass away, or the worst case happens. I don't want that to be you. So please let people know, share this video, share the information, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.